Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. You just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Well, here we are with an unexpected, mostly unexpected breaking news episode of Purple Daily. Well, Positive Phil's gonna need a cocktail here, I think.
Tails.
Before the day is over. Cocktails.
Tails.
Plural. So, according to now multiple reports, the Adam Schefters, the Ian Rappaports of the world, I'll just read this one from Schefter. Tests today revealed that Vikings standout left tackle Christian Darrisaw will need season-ending knee surgery, according to a source. Another loss on top of Thursday night's loss to the Rams. So, yeah.
Yeah, what would you say you do here? And so we do not have a ligament specification yet, correct?
I haven't seen anything specific. There's been MCL speculation.
Yeah,
but...
and that was best case because, an MCL can mean 3 to 6 weeks. It can mean a lot of different things. But if it's ACL or beyond that, it can be a real problem.
Yeah, this might be, I'm trying to think of if you ranked every Vikings player from 1 through 53 on the roster in order of which players,
let's go back to your list.
If this player was out for the season, well, that list was the 25 best Vikings. But if I framed it, and maybe it's similar, right now, based on where they're at, which players would leave the biggest gap between, hey, this person's out, and here comes someone to replace them? I think Darrisaw. Justin Jefferson's high up, obviously, but it might be Darrisaw.
Well, I was going to say, so a year ago, Jefferson missed substantial time, and Addison actually did a nice job replacing him. I guess, and this is not based on he's great, but Darnold to Mullins would probably be a step down because Nick is just decides to throw the football where he chooses, when he chooses. But yeah, this is probably the number one on talent. This is probably number one offensively because you're going to go from Darrisaw to Quessenberry, or you're going to kick Brandel outside. Jane
right. Says Dex looks so sad.
He is, Jane.
It's brutal, man.
He is
brutal
he is
news.
Yeah, he is sad.
Dude, it's always the worst possible thing with this team. Man, was JJ McCarthy limping a little there? I don't know. Was he just was he limping or was he out for the year? Boy, Darrisaw, that looked kind of bad. Boy, I wonder that could be a 4-week injury. Boy, if they don't watch out for the season. Every time.
And what do you do now? Just start Quessenberry, who by the way looked awful on Thursday. He's a better backup than that, but the key word here being backup. Do you move Reisner to left guard and play Brandel at tackle? I am not suggesting. I'm not suggesting any of my suggestions are good. You don't. I will answer the question, which is, the trade deadline comes up on November 5th. Can they go get someone? As we talked about last night, there's no replacing this guy. Christian Darrisaw is one of the elite left tackles. So are you going to go replace him? Well, one, you're not going to get a guy that comes close to him. Left tackles are at a premium. That is a premium position. So one, the price is high, and you're not going to pay a big price for a guy who's a step down because he might be an improvement on Quessenberry. I don't think so. This feels really bad.
Yeah, it's.
I don't know what else to say. This feels really bad.
This is a crushing blow to your offense. It is. Just think about running the ball to the left side, the backside protection, blindside protection with your sort of skittish quarterback that's trying to be brought back to life from his Jets PTSD and Panthers PTSD, having one of the best left tackles in the NFL in the run game and in the passing game, and then going, and like you said, it's kind of like quarterbacks. There's 16 to 19 truly reliable in the world. And the rest, the other third of the league, is looking for a quarterback, is looking for a left tackle. And the Vikings have one of the 3 to 5 best in the league, and he's out for the season. So, yeah, there's a Positive Phil will not be putting a a happy, optimistic spin on this one. This is a crushing blow for this team, straight up.
Yeah. And the only thing here is, the McCarthy thing was a complete shock, right? It's like he played great, left the game, and then, KOC at the press conference a couple of days after the preseason game was like, well, there's some knee problems. And I'm like, that doesn't sound good. But still, you're like, his season's not done, right? This one, you saw it in the replay, and I thought, this does not look good. Like, that knee got bent. And let's also, we've touched on this a couple of times, but I think now in light of this news, it's fair. Let's also go back to, this is not on O'Connell's play calling.
Well, I see that. I do see that.
I know,
right
but it's
now.
not fair. But it's not fair. It's a run play from deep in your own territory, and they could have taken a knee, but they could have set themselves up for a bunch of problems off of that. And furthermore, how many times do you call a play exactly like that and nothing happens?
Yeah.
I'm not going to point blame here. I think it's extremely unfortunate. I think it sucks. Yeah. I think it sets the Vikings back a lot, but I'm not pointing fingers here. Sorry.
So, yeah, what does this do now? Expectations just going forward now. What does the rest of the season mean at this point? What is as you sit there, the Vikings are going to have a few days now to take a deep breath, and you got the Colts game. I know they're just going to go kind of week to week game planning, but
right.
If Sports Dad Judd was remapping expectations here going forward, trade deadline is coming up. I mean, I see our guy Thorne Eistrom saying the Vikings, it's now official. The Vikings at the trade deadline must make a move as sellers.
Yeah, because he's not.
I mean, I know that sounds crazy when you're 5-2, but yeah, this injury is sort of a path altering injury for you.
Oh boy, let's talk about this. Number one, when you say sellers, I guess I would have to ask our guy Thursday what he means exactly. Like, what are you gonna sell? Are you gonna try to take Stephon Gilmore to market because he's gonna get you? Like it's not like baseball where it's far simpler to say, hey, we got these prospects and we'll take this guy back. I feel like sellers. I mean, and I'm Mr. Dump. I feel like sellers is really strong. I think it's going to be, if I'm trying to be positive, Judd, if I'm trying to talk this through in a potentially positive way, top of mind, I think for a team that we didn't know exactly how things were going to go, it's going to be, especially for the younger players, a great character test. Because you can't I guarantee you, Kevin O'Connell's not going to walk in the room today and be like, Darrisaw's out. It was fun, right, guys? Like, he's got to sell hope. Mm-hmm. And there's no reason this does not impact the defense getting its act together in approximately 10 days. This does not impact them as far as the fact that they came off a bad game. As far as the line goes, there's no sugarcoating this, but at the same time, I'll be curious to see how everyone from the 53rd guy on the roster to O'Connell handles it. That's all I can say is I think it's a good test. If this was 2026, it's damn near catastrophic because that should be a Super Bowl team, hopefully, from what we've talked about. But I think that this is going to test a lot of people. And guys, we've talked about this all year long because it's how this league works. Sometimes you're only as good as the health of your roster. And Hawkinson was coming back and we were all like, okay, that's going to be a huge boon. Well, this is worse. Like, unfortunately, I prefer my tight end out than my left tackle. But I do think that this is going to really test this team and the tightness and the supposed continuity I shouldn't say that. It's condescending, and I don't mean it that way. The continuity that they had. Not supposedly. Like, tight group, playing well. Like, there was a really positive vibe there. Like, that was legit. I was in that room. I don't question that. So it's going to test that. But I can't swing it in any way positively from an offensive side. Like, there's no, you just plug in this guy or that guy. This is just a huge, huge blow from that.
Yeah, I mean, you take a step back because you lose one of the five most important players at that position. But, I mean, if you plug in Questenberry, and you have to play somebody, right? You have to play somebody.
TJ
You can't
Clemmings
just punt
out
on
there?
the rest of the season. Can't be getting Clemmings. Can't be getting Willie Beavers. You're plugging in Questenberry, and you get Hawkinson back, and you're probably gonna have to change up the way you go about running your offense. I still think you run with Aaron Jones a lot. Maybe you don't run on the left side as much as you used to. Not sure what Questenberry's run defense is either. By the way, I'm not gonna pretend that I have that off the top of my head. But is it more kind of like what we saw from the Rams, where it's quick passes, get the ball out quicker, where Sam's been holding the ball forever? So this probably changes the way they go about things. But I still think it probably puts a cap on how far this team can go now, because now you've lost your left tackle. It's still a team that's in position to be in the playoffs, though, and it isn't just completely sinking their season by any means.
Questenberry, to your guys' point, so he's 34 years old, which is another factor. I mean, he's probably one of the oldest left tackles in the NFL. He had one full year as a starter in Tennessee back in 2021, and I believe was that right tackle though in 2021? It was right tackle in 2021.
Yeah.
So it's hard to even now he was an excellent run blocker as a right tackle, an 86.6 PFF grade, and he struggled in pass protection, but that's right tackle, man. That's a different ball game.
Right.
Left tackle, the most snaps he's played in a season was 2020 with the Titans. He basically played half their season as a starting left tackle, and he was almost exactly, maybe slightly below a league average left tackle, but that was also age 29 versus age 34.
Right.
This is a huge gap. I would even consider, so they drafted Walter Rouse, and they kept him on the 53, and he's been one of their main backup offensive linemen. I mean, would you consider just putting the young dude out there, super talented kid coming out of college, and you're going to start Questenberry probably against the Colts,
Yeah,
but
it depends on what he showed. Yeah.
just see what you got in a guy like that. you know?
Can one of you two post the comment from Sean Luthjohn at 1:39 p.m. that begins sell, sell, sell? Because I think this gets back to the, hey, just dump now. He says, sell, sell, sell. Yep, thank you. Bynum, Gilmore, Tillery, Patrick Jones, Chandler, This is the problem. Other than Bynum, no one here is worth much.
Bynum gets used. Bynum is a legit conversation.
Bynum is. After that, I would say there is zero. Unless you just want maybe late round picks. I mean, I don't think Gilmore gets you a thing.
But make no mistake, they had a chance last year. The day before the trade deadline, they were 4-4, 4-4, not 5-2, 4-4.
Yep.
And they knew that Kirk Cousins was out for the season.
Yep.
And they were literally scrambling to grab Josh Dobbs via trade for conditional picks and Nick Mullins. And they decided, Kwesi surveyed the room, and they looked around and said, even at 4-4 without Kirk Cousins at quarterback and the drop off to Dobbs and Mullins and Jaron Hall, we're going to stay the course. We'd rather stay the course than get a second round pick for Danielle Hunter. Well, I would argue they're in a better position now than they were 2 years ago when they made the decision to stand pat and move forward. So
agreed.
I think unless Kwesi did a complete 180 philosophically in the last 12 months, there is 0% chance that they start to sell pieces off. What do you guys, what does your gut say now? We do the, last week we predicted the schedule coming out of the bye, or was it after the Lions game, whatever. So they're 5-2. They got 10 games left, right? What does your gut say?
They can go 5-5.
I was going to say
10-7.
Mm-hmm. Go 5-5.
Unless they absolutely just collapse. I mean, I still think the next 3 games are gettable. Colts at home, Jaguars on the road, Titans.
Cardinals.
They're not slam dunks, but yeah, they can still win 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
Now that again is provided that other guys don't get hurt. But with today's news, but I mean now the question is, do I think they can get to the playoffs and actually win games? And my answer is,
I mean,
right. But that was what I was. But at 5-0 with Darrisaw healthy, that was my thing. Is you have a chance at that point for home field in the playoffs. Obviously, can you win playoff games? I was thinking even with Darnold, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
That's all out as far as I'm concerned now. So it's not like what can they do for the rest of the season? It's, are you probably almost certainly going to be, if you make the playoffs, one and done? And my answer is, yeah, feels like it now.
Yeah, and part of I think
him.
part of where I've been at on Ventline last night, and then our hottest Vikings takes this morning with Positive Phil coming to the rescue was, like some of the early injury experts on Twitter looking at the film and stuff. That looks like it might be an MCL, probably like a 4-week injury, maybe a 6-week. And so the premise to me was always, all right, well, you'll get him back for the last 6 games of the year, and if you're still sitting in pretty good shape, you can still roll off 11, 12 wins on the season, but out for the season, and you still have, 4 division games against the best division in the NFL, and you got that game in Seattle. It's, I think Dex nailed it, man. I think 5-5 the rest of the way would be a low-key W for this franchise, and then you probably get in as a wild card team, play a road game.
Yeah,
Whatever.
and the other problem too that we've been talking about for a couple of days now is Darnold's propensity to hold the ball becomes more detrimental, because you're probably not going to hold. Well, you're probably I can take that word out. You're not going to hold up as well in pass protection, and so the ball has to come out, which O'Connell's going to have to adjust some things, I would think, for sure. But nonetheless, I mean, those bookend tackles were are such a huge part of your team. That's the thing that was so different, I thought, from like when we brought up 2016. Could this be 2016? Well, no, because you got the bookend tackles. And yeah, R.I.P. Positive Phil.
I have a piece of reckless speculation that I can throw out now.
Reckless speculation.
Do you pick up the phone and do you see what the status and health is of David Bakhtiari?
I've seen his name being floated out here too. Is he still with the Jets?
I think he's a free agent.
Free agent.
Oh, okay.
He's not with anybody.
Okay, I thought
he's been he's been rehabbing and.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
are there like credible reports that he wants to come back and play?
He told Rich Eisen in March that he still has multiple years left in him after his latest surgery. Now that's
optimistic of him.
Probably optimistic of him.
Yeah, there's a story here that was published yesterday from Niner Noise. David Bakhtiari and two other Niner Noise,
baby.
NinerNoise.net.
Purple Noise. David Bakhtiari and 2 other bargain free agents 49ers must sign now. So,
but wouldn't he? Okay, I mean, he's been out for large chunks of like 3 years, right? Mm-hmm. And he's 33 years old.
Yes.
Well, actually, now that you bring that up, I personally was mocking the notion as of yesterday that this is the 2016 season all over again. Like, you guys. They lost Matt Khalil, their starting left tackle, and then they hodgepodged it with backups, and then eventually desperately signed, was it Jake Long? Mm-hmm. That offensive line was in shambles, and they knew it in the room. Well, they're hodgepodging it with backups, and we're talking about signing a chronically injured veteran to save the season.
Yeah. Again, you're just not
life comes at you fast, Positive Phil.
Yeah, and you're just not going to replace this guy. You're just not going. Like, this is the problem. We are having a conversation about the loss of a guy who cannot be replaced.
Okay, Sam Wilcox says, "Oh my God, you guys, it's one game on a short week. Sucks losing Darrisaw, but Lions lost Hutch and are still good. We will be fine."
I would only say this.
Well, the Lions are better than the Vikings.
Well, you also, losing Hutchinson is a major loss, but you can also rotate guys in that can there are ways defensively to scheme things.
Sure.
I don't know there's a ton of ways to scheme around your left tackle going from up here by the quick trip sign to down here by, basically out of the picture.
By the purple color at the bottom of the screen here.
By the purple,
on
by that
YouTube.
Purple football color. I just realized it's a
And if you're
football.
listening, you have no idea what we're talking about, but just trust us.
It's a major difference, folks. If you're listening, if you're driving, I am holding my hands way far apart.
Yeah, I guess, by the way, if you're just joining us here on this live emergency stream, We don't have full details on the ligaments or what have you, but it's just being widely reported that Christian Darrisaw is out for the season with that knee injury, and Kevin O'Connell will speak to the media later on today just to confirm it, I would guess.
Yeah, at this point in time, it's clearly out there. So, yeah, it's incredibly unfortunate. The past 4 or 5 days have gone about as poorly as they could have gone, maybe worse.
Dude, this franchise, man.
I mean, they were 5-0. Okay, you lose to Detroit. You know what? Okay, move on. Maybe you beat the Rams. Then you lose that game in pretty bad fashion, and then you lose one of the most important players on your offense.
This franchise is so dumb sometimes, man. Like they just here we go. Just rolling a lot 5-0, beating the Niners, the Texans, the Packers, jump out to a 2-score lead against the Lions, crowd going crazy, full steam ahead, and then the anvil or multiple anvils come dropping on your head.
You kicked the crap
Year
out
after
of the Texans.
year.
The Texans are really good, and you kicked the crap out of them.
Oh man. So any final thoughts from you guys here before we sail into the abyss, the pseudo bye week?
Just that I am going to go to Park Tavern and not leave until Sunday now. I'm just going to go sleep there, cry in the corner.
Yeah. I might meet you over there for a little bit.
Look, this team being good is so much fun. And that start was a ton of fun. And I'm not saying they're dead, but we didn't need this. Like, the losses are like, okay, it's frustrating, but then you're going to move on.
That was enough.
Yeah, and then you're going to move on in 10 days and play again, and it's a start anew.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just be Positive Phil will just be deleting his entire internet footprint the last 48 hours and all the optimistic things that he's been tweeting about.
That's what you always do. Just say, after a 48-hour period, I have regained my Twitter from Elon and the guys. I am back. I was hacked.
I'm just going to retweet all these with "I was hacked."
Actually, say you were hacked by the Russians.
You know, it's funny. Of course, I'm the one that should be ashamed here. But I posted. Someone emailed us, and I won't call them out by name. But someone said, "Hey, I appreciate you, Judd and Declan." He sent this like 3 hours ago. So this is before the Darrisaw out for the season news came out. He goes, "Appreciate you guys, but I am officially stepping away from Vikings football for a while. Been listening to you guys for over 6 years. It's been a great ride. Really brought a lot of happiness to my life, but I'm going to take a break. If we make it to a Super Bowl, I'll watch, but otherwise, peace." And I said, listen, Vikings fans, we got to stop being so soft here. They lost a couple tough games. Come on, right? You know what? I'm closer to joining this guy after the Christian Darrisaw news than I am mocking him now. So I'm sorry.
He's going to Park Tavern too. We're all going to meet there. It's going to be a therapy group.
Sounds great.
Get a big table, sit around.
Man. All right. Well, until next time on Purple Daily. Daily Vikings therapy at this point.
See you in a couple hours for the Darnold news.
Oh, David Bakhtiari on my phone. Interesting.